It's 2,330 square feet of elegance, from the spacious living room to the cozy fireplace and spectacular pool setting. There's 3 bedrooms and 3¼ beautiful bathrooms. A spacious kitchen and exquisite oak cabinetry throughout. Call us 727-0209.
Gallery of Home Furnishings, located off Highway 160 in Basin. Have you been waiting on getting the perfect computer or work desk? Well, wait no longer. We have a great selection. At the Gallery of Home Furnishings, receive a free floral arrangement with any dinette purchased. Gallery of Home Furnishings has a great selection of accessories and the largest selection of recliners in the valley. We have Simmons and Spring Air mattresses in stock and ready for same-day delivery. If you have back problems, you will want a Simmons Back Care System, the Gallery of Home Furnishings.
Pahrump has a new transmission shop. It's called Pahrump Transmission. Pahrump Transmission specializes in all makes and models, foreign and domestic. They work on standard, automatic, electronic, and overdrive transmissions. Pahrump Transmission is the home of the free road test, free transmission check, free adjustment, and free towing with major repairs. Come in and check out their $17.95 transmission service special. Ask Pahrump Transmission about their lifetime warranty.
Our housewares department is growing rapidly. We're having a great deal of volume there. We got some killer deals on just about anything you need for your houseware, whether it be a blender, whether it be a toaster, whether it be a coffee maker, whether it be a microwave. We have all those in stock now, and they're coming in droves, getting ready for the winter seasons here. Also, our housewares or our giftware department, that has stuff for your special occasions, your kids' gifts, for the adult gifts. We pretty much have something for everybody here at Ace Home Center. Come by, check it out, see what we got. We've got women's foo-foo stuff, you know, I mean, that really, the stuff, you know, that snacks, we got all kinds of things. If you need something special for that special person, come down to 8 Floyd's Ace Home Center, check it out, see what we got. You'll probably be amazed.
You hear me? Hi, welcome to Sports Talk, right here on the eve of Championship Sunday, another Friday night. Glad to have you. We're going to talk about a lot of sports news, last week's finals, the Super Bowl odds, this week's game, and of course the parlay card we have at Terriblestown for this weekend. I want to get right into the discussion. First thing I want to talk about, of course, is the UNLV situation. Rick Pitino rumored to have come here. My sources anyway, have confirmed that Pitino has accepted the job at UNLV. It's between a 4- and a 5-year deal. He was offered the job Thursday by Charlie Cavagnaro and Carol Harder, and it appears that Pitino is going to take the job. The only thing he needs to be ironed out is the financial part of the agreement. He's also contacted the coach, Max Good, offered him some type of assistance job still with UNLV. Right now he is the coach at UNLV. I believe he's 7-1 since Bill Bano has been fired, so he's done a great job as the interim coach. But the coach you need here, of course, is Pitino, the recruiting genius that he is, a guy that plays fast-paced offense and a lot of man-to-man and pressure defense like the Rebels used to run 10 years ago. So he should bring back some memories for all you Rebel fans. He took a shot at Tarkanian in the paper in Hawks column earlier today, saying that he plans to win with UNLV like they did in the 80s, but with a little more integrity. I think if Pitino wants to get off on the right foot, he needs to leave the past Rebels alone and start off on his own reputation with the Rebels fresh. Interesting enough, Joe Hawk thinks that Max Good deserves the job and not Rick Pitino. Unfortunately, Joe Hawk don't know what he's talking about. Max has done a great job, but he's beaten teams like Chicago State and Monmouth and Loyola Marymount. His first game was against Cincinnati, which was a home loss by 20 points. So I think UNLV's on the right track. Rick Pitino is a great choice. He had a losing record with the Celtics, but pro ball and college ball is like night and day. And we'll be getting into some pro ball later on in the show. Phone number here is 751-5786, 751-5786. I'd like to talk about the Rebel situation, of course, the football coming up this weekend. How about the story coming out of Pittsburgh? Hockey. I know we haven't talked much hockey. Mario Lemieux, in his first 6 games back with the Penguins, he's got 6 goals and 10 assists. Penguins are 4-2 in his first 6 games. All 6 games have been sold out. Also, the attendance for the Penguins has increased so much that they've already made $2 million since he announced to come out of retirement. I watched the first couple of games Lemieux played in, and of course the last game he played in, he had 2 goals, and he's just playing like the Mario Lemieux of old. It seems like some of these players on defense are a little reluctant to check him or hit him, but let me tell you something. Lemieux is in great shape for a guy that hasn't played in 3.5 years. Going to football now, there's been a lot of firings and hirings in the NFL. Some of the head coaches that have left are Wade Phillips, Chris Palmer, Gunther Cunningham, all fired recently. Of course, Bill Parcells resigned from the Jets post, so nothing's clear on what he's going to be doing for his future. But Marty Schottenheimer, hired by the Redskins. I think that's a great deal for the Redskins. Schottenheimer is, of course, a coach that hasn't been to the Super Bowl yet, but he definitely gets the most out of his players. He's with the Kansas City Chiefs before, had to worry about contracts and paying people, but with Washington, obviously Snyder's pockets are always open. He should field a very respectable team, and I think Schottenheimer, his mannerisms and the way he gets the most out of his players, should be able to take Washington to the next level, at least into the playoffs next year, maybe deep into the playoffs. So look for the Redskins next year with Schottenheimer to return at least somewhat to some of their glory days. I expect Schottenheimer to take the Redskins right to the top of the division immediately. Also, Dick Vermeil, hired by the Chiefs for a couple of picks and $500,000. He's out of his Ram contract. The Chiefs pulled off a stunner. Nobody's seen it coming. Gunther Cunningham didn't even know he was going to be fired until the announcement of Vermeil as the head coach. Also in Detroit, Matt Millen, hired as president of the Detroit Lions. He said one of the first jobs of his is going to be to contact Barry Sanders about a possible comeback. I think that'd be one of the great stories in football for next year. Sanders, of course, one of the top 3 running backs to ever live, went out on bad terms with Detroit, didn't see eye to eye with Bobby Ross, and decided to retire abruptly 2 years ago. So if Matt Millen could get Barry Sanders back with the Lions, that's not only a great move for the Lions, but a great move for the NFL. Norv Turner, let go by the Redskins earlier before the playoffs, has been hired by the San Diego Chargers as an offensive coordinator. Interesting fact is the Chargers have the first pick in the draft. Now what are they going to do? They got high-priced Ryan Leaf right now, and then you got Michael Vick coming out of college. Obviously, Michael Vick's going to be the first pick in the draft. He's got all the tools, mobility, arm strength. He's a proven winner in college. What did he lose? 1 or 2 games, I believe. And I think he's going to be the first-round pick. I don't think there's any doubt about it. But the situation for San Diego is, what do they do? You know, you got Leaf, and still got him under contract for a while. You got Michael Vick. They can't afford to trade Vick. This guy is somebody's future, and San Diego's been down for so long. I think that that's got to be their choice, is Michael Vick. Also, Les Steckel fired by Tampa Bay after Tony Dungy went out and said that he's satisfied with his offense last week. The owner of Tampa Bay told Dungy, either Steckel goes or you go. So obviously Les Steckel was the odd man out. Skipping to baseball, a couple signings in baseball. Ironically, David Cone, the Yankee stud for the past few years outside of last year where he had a few arm problems, signed by the Boston Red Sox. He has a chance to make between $4 and $5 million. Also, Juan Gonzalez, ex-Texas Ranger, ex-Detroit Tiger, signed a 1-year deal with the Cleveland Indians, replacing Manny Ramirez. 1 year and with a club option, and also Gonzalez's option. They call it a mutual option. I never heard that one before, but that is for the 2nd year of his contract. And last but not least, I want to go to pro basketball. A couple articles in the paper recently talking about Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, how they're not getting along, and apparently Kobe was quoted in a magazine a couple of months back as saying that Phil Jackson has asked him to step aside and let Shaq be the leader of the team and take less shots. And Kobe kind of went off the handle. He said, look, I'm the guy that's flourishing right now. I'm getting better each game. And basically told Jackson, watch me take over. So him and Shaq are having some problems right now. Obviously, 2 of the best 5 players in the NBA. Shaq's Free throw percentage doesn't seem to be getting any better, but at any given night, Shaq's capable of scoring 40 and pulling down 20. So that's a situation that Phil Jackson's going to have to remedy if the Lakers are going to make another run at another title. Go ahead, we got a caller.
Yes, you do. It's Ray Mello. How you doing?
Hey, Ray, how you doing, pal?
All right. I got a question about the draft. Now, when a team drafts somebody, like you said, Vic, they want to get Vic. All right. Do they have some idea of a contract before? You know, what if they can't come to an agreement? They draft a guy, and all of a sudden they can't come up with the money. If in baseball,
Yeah.
they're talking a couple $100 million to sign somebody.
Right.
What if they draft somebody? How does it work, Bill?
Well, the situation with drafting players in basketball, it's a lot easier. They have some type of set standard for the first pick, second pick, third pick, so on and so forth. Football, there's been a lot of holdouts. It's basically, you know, what can they get from the owner? Obviously, Michael Vick is going to get what he wants. You know, you got a situation where a guy might be picked lower and think he's better than a pick that's above him, and he'll hold out for money that he's not going to get. But we know Michael Vick is the best player in the draft, the most complete quarterback in the country. I know Chris Winkie was the Heisman Trophy winner, but taking his age at 28 right now, he's going to be playing in the senior game, so obviously he still thinks that he has a lot to prove on the college level, especially coming up so short against Oklahoma with only 2 points. You look at Michael Vick and you look at a guy that's got a tremendous left arm, he's got great mobility, and obviously a proven winner on the college field. And like, you know, he was only a sophomore this year, Ray, so you look at Michael Vick and he's got 2 more years eligibility in college football. He's going into the draft, and I think San Diego's going to have to roll out the red carpet for this guy and pay him what he wants. In answer to your question, basically they either get what they want or they hold out. And, you know, that's the situation.
So there's no way, like, to trade this guy because they can't work out a contract?
Yeah, they can do that. They can trade the guy, obviously. But, you know, what happens is that the other teams know that this guy has been a problem signing a contract. That makes his worth a little less for the team that's trading him because they know the other team knows that this team isn't going to be able to sign him, so they kind of got him over a barrel. You know. But definitely Michael Vick, they could trade Michael Vick to even a team like with the second or third pick in the opening round and get their pick and plus probably another quality player and some cash. I mean, that's how good this guy is.
2 or 3 to 1 trade or something like that, huh?
Definitely. He's worth, you know, a trade and some cash. I mean, Michael Vick, like I say, you know, I mean, I'm not telling people anything they don't know. Michael Vick, by far, to me, the best quarterback in the country.
But football does have a cap, right, as far as salary, the team cap or something
It
like
has
that?
a team cap.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, in pro basketball, there's a rookie cap. And I think you're going to have that in pro football soon because if you don't, you know, these rookies, well, they got some type of cap, but it's not like the pro basketball cap. They have so much money they can spend on the rookies, but really they hold out for bonuses and you know, all these other little odds and ends that you can pick up. So,
well, it's interesting because I knew what happened years ago, like in baseball and stuff. I had all different trades, and if a guy was holding out for too much money, they would just trade him, and sometimes they get 2 or 3 for 1. You know,
back then, too much money was $50,000 a year, not $50,000 a game.
Those are big bucks then,
Yeah,
Foley.
no doubt about it. You remember when that happened? About 30 years ago, Curt Flood broke the antitrust in the baseball union.
I didn't know it was Flood. I thought it was that guy Clemente.
No, it was Curt Flood.
Was Clemente the free agency they started or something?
No,
like that?
Clemente was he wasn't involved with that at all. He died in 70.
Yeah, he died in a plane crash,
yeah.
I think, right?
Yeah, I think free agency happened after that. I think it was in the middle of the 70s.
That's what he was fighting for. They wanted to trade him, and he didn't want to be traded to that team or something like that.
Yeah, that was Curt Flood. You got the right situation. You got the wrong guy.
Well, if you look it up, you're going to find someone with Clemente being instrumental in that, because I remember thinking about it at the time, saying, "What's this all about? This is not usual."
It was probably something that was leading up to what happened, but he was gone when free agency was granted, and I believe the first free agent was Andy Messersmith. So. And that was in 75, and I know Roberto was dead a couple of years.
Okay, well, thanks a lot. You have a good show.
Hey, Ray, I appreciate the call as always.
Buddy.
All right, man.
Right, bye-bye.
Okay. We're going to go to the finals last week. First, we want to look at the Vikings and the Saints. Minnesota final 34-16 over the Saints. It was a game Minnesota scored first, which I explained that they had to do last week to beat the Vikings. They scored on the third play of the first half, a 53-yard slant to Randy Moss, and then they scored on the third play of the second half, a 68-yard slant to the left. Moss took it up the sideline and was gone. Culpepper 17 of 31, 3 touchdowns, 302 yards. Robert Smith had 25 carries, 74 yards and a touchdown. And the duo of Moss and Carter. Carter 8 receptions, 120 yards and a touchdown. And Randy Moss, just 2 receptions, but he made them count. 121 yards and 2 touchdowns. Okay, we got a caller. Let's go, caller.
How about them Raiders, man?
How about the Raiders, Bubba? They look tough. Raiders look tough.
You think they'll make it?
I'm picking the Raiders and the Vikings, but, you know, that's a rematch of 76, 25 years ago, last time the
Who's
Vikings.
going to win it this time?
I like the Vikings to win it. I hear the Raiders are going to be favorite, though. I hear the Raiders will be, if they get by Baltimore, and I like them to get by Baltimore, but it wouldn't shock me to see Baltimore,
Yeah.
I mean, they say the Raiders will be between a 2 and a 2.5, 3-point favorite against the Vikings if they do meet in the Super Bowl. I think the Raiders situation is their defense is very underrated, and it came out last week. Torrey James with 2 interceptions. Of course, you got Charles Woodson, and you got a great pass rush. And the way Oakland controlled the ball against Miami last week, they're going to be tough to beat. We're going to get into the Oakland and Baltimore game. There's a lot of stats there that might surprise you as far as what happened last week in the Tennessee-Baltimore game. Pretty much Tennessee dominated time of possession, first downs, and everything else, but Baltimore came up with the big plays. And that's what the Raiders are going to have to watch out for is the big plays against Baltimore's defense.
Yeah. So you think the Vikings are going to come out on top?
I think Vikes win this week, Raiders win this week, and probably I'm probably a little partial to the Vikings, but it's going to be a great Super Bowl.
The Vikings, your team?
Yeah.
Got a nice sweater.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, with when you're betting, nobody can be your favorite team. So.
Oh, you got money on the game?
Yeah, a little bit.
How much?
I can't get into that.
All right then.
Appreciate the call.
Like,
Okay, back to the Vikings and Saints last week. The Saints came in leading the league in sacks with 66, but came up with a big goose egg against the Vikings. Vikings' offensive line features 5 guys weighing 300 pounds or more, a quarterback that's 6'4", 265, and a couple of big wide receivers. Moss isn't big as far as width goes, but Moss can jump and run, and Carter definitely a possession-type receiver. Gary Anderson, he's been in the league 19 years. He's never made a Super Bowl, so they're going to try and get in there for Gary. Remember, 2 years ago, he missed that field goal that could have got the Vikings into the Super Bowl. So definitely, this week is a big week for him. Injuries for the Vikings, Orlando Thomas, questionable. Rookie Tyrone Carter starts, and Dante Culpepper is at least 95% with that high ankle sprain for this week. So the Vikings are relatively healthy coming into the game. We're going to talk about the remaining 3 finals from last week when we come back from this message.
Rick Pete Chrysler Jeep Dodge, Prum's only complete automobile dealership. Your one stop for all vehicles, new and used. Our friendly sales staff is here to assist you in finding just the right car, van, or truck. Our large parts department and professional service technicians will keep your vehicles running smoothly. Whether it's one car or a fleet, see Rick Pete Chrysler Jeep Dodge.
Hello, my name is Feli Kitavis with Precious Properties. I would like to introduce to you my staff. To my right is Robin Bunk. She is a hard worker like me. All of us are hard workers. And to my left is Patrick Kitavis. He's my son. And if you list your properties with Precious Properties, for sure you are dealing with a professional.
Visit Precious Properties, 2090 South Highway 160. Phone 727-5255.
Bill McKelvey of McKelvey Pools and Spas, serving Nevada for 42 years with no complaints. Build now, be ready for summer this spring. That's right, folks. You can swim this spring in your brand new pool just by calling 873-7401. That's McKelvey Pools. Call now for a free estimate. Bill McKelvey is on your job from beginning to end. He cares about your project and about completing it correctly.
For all your construction needs, big or small, call Ron Murphy Construction, one of Frump's most respected contractors, from septic tank installation to pad development. Roads, driveways, and infrastructure. Ron Murphy Construction has the experience and the expertise to complete your project on time and at a reasonable cost. Ron Murphy knows the Frump Valley and wants to take the desert and turn it into a place of beauty, be it home or business development. For more information, call Ron Murphy Construction, 727-6090.
Hi, welcome back to Sports Talk. I was talking to the caller about the Raider question. I'm looking over some of the stats now. If you look at the game last week, the Raiders 27, the Dolphins nothing. Torrey James did have 2 interceptions, 1 for 90 yards and a touchdown. That was definitely the turning point right off the bat. Jay Fiedler was leading Miami downfield and inside Raider territory and looks to his right and just threw a perfect pass to Torrey James, and he went 90 yards for a touchdown. Miami was never in the game after that. Looking at the stats, they're pretty unbelievable. Miami had no rushing first downs against the Raiders. Miami built their team on running all year and could not manage a first down. So the Raiders are a very underrated defense coming in against the Ravens, maybe the forgotten defense. And you get a team like the Raiders mad on defense, and they're able to shut a team like the Ravens down. I think it's going to be a great game when they play each other. Last week, Gannon, 12 of 18, 1 touchdown, only 143 yards passing, but the team defense had controlled the game so much that Gannon really didn't have to pass that often. Tyrone Wheatley, 19 carries, 56 yards, and a touchdown. Also, Oakland was 8 of 16 on third down conversions, which means they kept the ball for an awful long time. 38 minutes compared to 22 for Miami. And Miami's not going to win many games when they only have the ball 22 minutes. Also, Miami, in the 3 games in the playoffs following an opening playoff victory, in other words, the last 3 years, Miami's won their first playoff game. In the second round, each time they've been blown out, a combination of 127-10 over the last 3 years. If you remember last year, Jacksonville went and was home against Miami, beat Miami 67-7. And then, 62-7. Of course, this year 27-0 to Oakland. So the last 2 games, obviously, Miami wants to forget those 2. The next game we want to talk about is the Ravens and the Titans. We're talking about how sometimes stats don't tell you the whole story. Tennessee did get a touchdown on their first possession, but then did not get another one. Ray Lewis had a 50-yard interception return for a touchdown for Baltimore. That turned out to be one of the big plays of the game. Offensively for Baltimore, Trent Dilfer. This is a situation for Baltimore where they're going to be in a lot of trouble against the Raiders. If they get behind, which is very possible, even 3 or 7 or 10 points, you're still behind. If they get behind, Trent Dilfer, 5 of 16, no touchdowns, no interceptions, 117 yards. You're not going to win a playoff game in the second round with 5 completions, I guarantee you. Jamal Lewis, 17 carries, 47 yards, and a touchdown. The defense for Baltimore allowed only 6 first downs, but 4 of them came on the opening drive, which Tennessee looked real sharp on. In other words, Tennessee finished the rest of the game with only 2 first downs after that opening drive. Tennessee did have the ball for 40 minutes of the 60 minutes played. Like I said, sometimes stats, they don't tell you the whole story. Big plays were the reason Baltimore won the game. Anthony Mitchell had a 90-yard blocked field goal return for a touchdown, and Al Del Greco, 1 of 4 on field goals, usually one of the most trustworthy kickers you can have, always with the big kick. Had a 50-yarder earlier in there when Tennessee had lost a couple of games. He was 1 for 4 on field goals. Right now, you coming into this game, the Oakland Raiders are the #1 rushing team in the NFL, facing the #1 defensive team in the NFL in the Baltimore Ravens. You couldn't ask for a better matchup on Sunday between the Ravens and the Raiders. It's going to be a great game. Both teams have a little black in their uniform. Look for a lot of hard hitting. I haven't seen a linebacker like Ray Lewis since Mike Singletary for the Bears, and before him, Lawrence Taylor, obviously, of the Giants. Tennessee had 81 plays to Baltimore's 43 plays. If Baltimore doesn't find a way to control the ball a little better and get Jamal Lewis a couple screen passes, I don't see how Baltimore can win, even if they do have the best defense in the NFL. We'll talk about that game later on in the show. Got another final to talk about from last week, the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. Giants beat the Eagles 20-10, a game which the Giants just dominated on defense, a situation where Donovan McNabb really didn't have very many weapons for him to go to. He lost 2 running backs early in the year, Deuce Staley and Mitchell, and of course he had to use Chris Warren, the ex-Cowboy and ex-Seahawk running back. Didn't get much production out of him. Last week, Kerry Collins didn't have to throw much, 12 of 19, no touchdowns, no interceptions, 125 yards, and the combination of Barber and Dane, thunder and lightning. Barber, 15 carries for 35 yards. Dane, 17 carries for 53 yards. Remember, coming into this game, Amani Toomer hasn't practiced all week. He practiced a little today, left a little early, so he's got a hamstring injury. He's still questionable. And Tiki Barber, of course, has that cast on his left arm. You need these teams to be healthy to win in these playoffs. I think that's the situation where Amani Toomer's not completely healthy. Kerry Collins is going to get a little nervous back there. And the Giants are going to have to score early to run the ball. If not, if Minnesota scores early, it's going to be a long day for the Giants. This week's games, before we go to them, I want to go to the Super Bowl odds. We're down to the Final Four now, the Final Four teams. Super Bowl odds as posted at Terriblestown right now. We have Vern's pick at the Raiders. I don't even know we have Vern's name up there, but somehow we managed to make the screen. We got the Raiders and the Vikings both at 3-2. You bet $2, you win 3 plus your 2 back. Giants are 2-1. Ravens are 3-1. Not very high odds for 4 teams being there. Ravens being a long shot at 3-1. But you got a situation where the Vikings and Raiders, obviously, both favorite in the game. You got to make them low favorites. This week in the NFC Championship game, the Vikings and the Giants at the Meadowlands, 9:30 a.m. Sunday morning. The Vikings come in -3 with a total of 42.5. Minnesota coming into the game with number 3 ranked offense in the NFL. Last week, their defense played one of its best games of the season. Against the Giants, Minnesota is going to have to score early. They don't want to get in a situation where the Giants are going to be able to run the ball and control the ground game against them. There's a lot of great props on Terriblestown on the parlay card. We'll get to a little bit later, but you got props with Culpepper and Collins. You got running backs. You got Moss versus Hilliard. Just a lot of things you can play in the game, just not the 2 games itself. Minnesota coming into the game with a big victory last week against the Saints. Giants, like I said, defense controlled the game. The Giants are going to have to run the ball to win this game. Kerry Collins isn't going to pass them to victory, that's for sure. AFC Championship game, Ravens and the Raiders. Right now, the Raiders are 5-point favorites. Most places in town have them 6. Ravens this year set an all-time record for least points allowed, just over 160. That's a little more than 10 points per game. Raiders -5, total 37.5. Rich Gannon, one of the most versatile quarterbacks in the NFL, looking to make his first Super Bowl. Baltimore looking to go to the Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay reject, Trent Dilfer. I don't know if he's going to be able to take him. Like I said last week, 5 of 16, 5 passes, isn't going to be able to get it done for Baltimore. They're going to have to get some rushing attempts for Jamal Lewis and a big game on the outside for maybe Ismail. But they're going to need a couple big plays to have a chance against the Raiders. Phone number here is 751-5786, 751-5786. I want to go over a couple of props we have on our parlay card at Terriblestown. Obviously, the games themselves, Vikings -2.5, total of 42.5 on the parlay card, and the Raiders -5.5, total of 37.5. We have props such as total team completions by Minnesota and the Giants. That's 36.5. In other words, if you think Kerry Collins and Dante Culpepper combined will have over 36.5, completes, then that you can play it over. If you like it under, you can play it under. Most receptions, Ike Hilliard versus Randy Moss. Chris Carter by himself, 6.5 receptions. Will he have more or less than 6.5? Which team will score last, the Giants or the Vikings? Total rushing yards by Robert Smith, 88.5. Will he have more or less than 88.5? And, of course, total yards combined by Tiki Barber and Ron Dane, combined rushing yards of 113.5. So a lot of great props. Make sure you come on down. We have a whole set of them for the Ravens and Raiders also. Completions are 35.5. Ismail, -0.5 of reception over Andre Rison. Receptions by Tim Brown at 5.5. Who will score last between the 2 teams? Most field goals, or most points, for the kickers. Janikowski, -0.5 point over Matt Stover. And total rushing yards by Jamal Lewis at 89.5. So just a whole load of props to play, possibly 16 selections on the card. So make sure you get down to Terriblestown. They do pay half-point payouts, which are very high, 6.5 to 1 for 3 teamers, 13 for 4, and so on and so forth. I also want to take a couple of minutes and talk about the Super Bowl party. There's a lot of Super Bowl parties around town. Lakeside's having one. I believe Mountain View's going to have one in their Hideaway Lounge. But the one at Terriblestown, what a deal for $10. I mean, basically, you get buffalo wings, baked beans, hot dogs, barbecued beef, nachos, potato salad, pizza, just all the stuff for a Super Bowl party. Not only that, you can have all-you-can-drink Foster's or Miller Lite, and we're going to be giving away cash for each score. A field goal is $50. A field goal of 50 yards or more will be $100. A touchdown will be $100, and if you're lucky enough, a 2-point conversion or a safety will be $200. So make sure you get down there. We have less than 80 tickets remaining for that, only at $10 a piece. Maximum you can buy is 4. We're also going to be having football jerseys to give away, some footballs. Not many Raider things right now. The guy I deal with, all the Raider stuff has been sold out. He's trying to get some more. I do have a couple of Culpepper jerseys, a couple of Moss jerseys, a Ravens jersey. I got Eddie George or Javon Curse from the Titans, a Peyton Manning jersey. Some of the teams that have already been eliminated, we have their jerseys. But it's going to be a great time for everybody. Make sure you get down to Terriblestown. Just $10 will get you in the door. Doors open at 12. Parties, the Super Bowl starts at 2:30. Phone number here is 751-5786. Give me some calls regarding the games. I want your opinions on who you think is going to win. Like I said last week, the defense ruled out basically in all 4 of the matchups. This week it might be a little bit different. The weather, of course, is the main reason you got to watch out for the Minnesota Giants game. Go ahead, we got a caller.
Mr. Foley.
Hey, Rich, how you doing?
Hey, good. What's the deal on the Raiders, man?
Well, they're coming into the game. You know, the Raiders got the #1 rushing offense in the NFL. Ravens have the #1 defense. I think it's going to be a game where somebody's going to have to do something to surprise somebody, or it's going to be real low scoring.
They must be pretty popular. You can't get no memorabilia from them, huh?
Well, you know, Christmas came and went, and you know, the Raiders are still in the playoffs. They are one of the most popular teams. You also got to remember that these sports stores, even though we are located near California, really, the teams that were in the playoffs last year, the Raiders were a surprise this year. I mean, you know, we're missing Denver. He has a lot of stuff for that. We're missing Jacksonville. A lot of stuff for Jacksonville. You know, the teams that made the playoffs last year, a lot of them didn't make the playoffs this year. And the Raiders hadn't been in the playoffs in almost a decade. So it's hard to get some of the teams that haven't made the playoffs because they do keep mostly the popular stuff.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
On my ticket when I made my bet Wednesday,
yeah,
it says the Raiders in 3.5. Now you're showing 5 on the screen. Do I still get the 3.5?
Raiders in 5.5.
Raiders in 3.5.
Minus 3.5.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's what's on my ticket when I made my bet Wednesday.
Really? I opened them at 4.5. So
I'm sorry, 4.5. You're right.
Yeah, 4.5. Raiders at 4.5. Yeah. Well, you got them at 4.5 still.
Oh, okay.
Who do you like? What do you think the score is going to be in that game? Low scoring, high scoring?
Oh, it's going to be over 37.5.
You think so?
Yeah, it'll be Raiders at least 31 to 10. I'm thinking.
Wow. You think so? Raiders scoring 31 points against a team that only gives up 10 a game, huh?
Yep, yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'd like to see it happen. I'd have to see it to believe it. After watching Baltimore, I think the Raiders can score because of Baltimore's ineptness on offense. Baltimore can't move the ball at all with Trent Dilfer. I mean, he could put them in spots where Oakland's getting the ball at midfield or at their own 40 in a lot of situations. But that Baltimore defense, definitely comparable to the Steelers of the 70s, the Dolphins of the early 70s, and you know, the Cowboys' great defense, Doomsday, and Minnesota's Purple People Eaters. This is the best defense I've seen since the '86 Bears.
Hey, Gannon's got some guns, man.
Yeah, Gannon's got some guns. He's definitely using Tim Brown the way he should be used, and Tim Brown's capable of still getting a big play now and then, but definitely a possession receiver, 14, 15 yards a catch. You can count on Tim Brown, that's for sure.
I'm looking at 31 to 10, though.
Well, I'm looking a little bit closer. I'm looking at maybe about 17-13 either way. It wouldn't shock me to see Baltimore pull an upset, but I don't see Oakland covering a spread.
Ooh, I took the over too.
Well, hey, trust me, I'm wrong half the time, so maybe this will be your lucky week.
All right, good luck.
Appreciate it, Rich.
All right.
Okay, just a few more minutes here. I want to go over a couple more aspects of the game. Looking at Minnesota, -3, total 42.5. Viking is averaging about 26 points a game for the year. Giants averaging about 19. But the weather situation, I called. I got the forecast through Monday. It's supposed to be about 45 degrees, sunny, just a little bit of wind. But in the Meadowlands, a little bit of wind when you're in that stadium could turn into a lot of wind. I think the Giants, like I said, are going to have to control the ball on the ground to have any chance of winning. They're not going to outscore Minnesota. I like Minnesota. I like Minnesota to win 31-14 or 30, somewhere in that area, 31-14, 31-17. I think the Vikings finally are going to get to the Super Bowl, first time since 1977. NFC Championship game in the Meadowlands is always tough to win. Everybody's talking about how the grass is going to slow Minnesota down. But if you look at the two toughest teams that the Giants played all year outside their division, which was a very weak division in my opinion, played the Titans and the Rams, gave up 66 points combined in both games and almost 500 yards. And I think as long as the weather stays okay, the weather will affect both teams. Don't think the Giants are going to come in bad weather and produce much either. But if the weather is good, I think Minnesota rolls in the opening game at 9:30. Going to the second game, the Ravens and the Raiders. Obviously, a couple of calls on the Raiders already. Still a very popular team. I do think the Raiders will win this game. I do think it's going to be close though. And I wouldn't be shocked to see the Ravens pull it out, but I do pick the Ravens to cover the game, not to win the game. I think the Ravens lose 17-13, somewhere in that area, 16-13. Look for a lot of field goals in that game. Both defenses bend, but they do not break. Next week, I'm not going to be here. I'm taking the week off before Super Bowl. It's 2 weeks between this week and the Super Bowl, so next Friday night I'm not going to be here, but make sure you're here the following week. It's going to be a Super Bowl show, maybe for a couple hours. I'll have a couple of guests, a whole lot of props, and definitely hope we can get some phone calls in here. As always, it's been great having you. I'll see you back here in 2 weeks.
Presented as an all-day ticket. With your all-day ticket purchase, you can watch this program until 6 a.m. Eastern Time on any channel where it is showing.
You are watching DirecTV.
This program has not been rated by the Motion Picture Association of America.
For almost a decade, Matchroom Boxing have dominated the British fight scene. Chris Eubank, Prince Nazim, Lennox Lewis, Herbie Hyde and Nigel Benn are among a host of world champions to grace the Matchroom stable. Not forgetting, of course, exciting new prospects and journeyman fighters. They're all united by one thing: they know how to hit. All these fighters are featured in this catalogue of boxing mayhem. 101 of the most spectacular finishes ever seen in a boxing ring. So pull up a ringside seat, settle back and enjoy 2 hours of hard-hitting action. 101 great knockouts. Knockout number 1, Jim McDonnell versus Azuma Nelson, November '89.
McDonnell so tired. Caught with a right and another right and forced to cover up. McDonnell thrown to the canvas. No, he beats the count. He's up at 9. And down again, and that's it. For the second title fight running, Azuma Nelson wins in the 12th and final round. This is the last knockdown. And, well, he has lost, but he's lost with glory. But what do you say about Azuma Nelson? Second fight running. He wins in the 12th. Yes, we mustn't forget that McDonnell has fought at the highest level, European champion, world title fights. So this should be well within his capabilities, but You need question the wisdom about keeping out of the ring for as long as he has done. That's a good laugh. And this is more like the McDonald we know. Oh dear, that's gone. That's the end. Oh dear. Don't bother to count. That's a dreadful knockout. That's a terrible thing to see. Certainly was. What a punch.
Seconds out. Round 2.
Here he goes. Oh, he's doing a job on Norman now. This is good stuff. This is very impressive. And Norman is getting a fearful pasting in this round and down. That was a bewildering attack.
7, 8.
Stopped it.
See where he's able to, that's it, winding up the right hand, left uppercut, got his head out of the way. Right hand, he can think of a half a dozen things at the one time. Follows him straight after him. You know,
And this has got to be about a 30 punch combination, this unanswered.
One of the most popular little men in British boxing is flyweight Francis Ampofo. Born in Ghana, brought up in the East End of London. A former British and Commonwealth champion who certainly packs a dynamite punch.
Right from the gun, he's on it. He's a flyweight and he's fighting like a flyweight tonight. He's tended to take a round or two to get into rhythm. Against when he fought Regan, that lost him the contest.
Oh, the right hand, and George is down and gone.
There's no way he's going to beat that can.
Well, officially, it'll go down on Pofo's record as a stoppage, but a knockout by any other name. That was a stunning right hand. Let's have another look at it from a different angle. There it went. Oh,
big
boy.
overhand right, Ken Norton style. Boom, in front of it, just walked away as if to say, good night.
Seconds out. Round 3.
you don't stay inside with someone like this, you stay on the outside. And
good
beautiful
shot.
right hook.
Oh, good shot.
Racket.
That was the punch that Armour did for him. Count is 7, 8, 9, out.
It's such a professional performance. This kid is hurt now. Get him back to the stool. That's a cracking performance for Francis.
First round knockout. And the new Commonwealth flyweight champion.
Picked all his shots around the body and then switched them over the top. He got this guy's hands down. That was the finishing right hook. Absolute beaut. That's going to be a punch for the best knockout of the year.
Check it out. The 12th and last round.
Look what he's doing here. Feinting, showing the jab. Oh, this is bad stuff.
Oh,
He's down.
He's got him. He's got him.
Referee's going to stop this even if he gets to his feet.
No, I don't think he's going to get to his feet.
Let him get through this.
He's out. Knocked out in the 12th.
Danny Ward is the winner.
And that's how we finished it.
Beautiful combination here on the ropes. Left hand, right hand. And basically, he'd just eaten so much punishment over and over and over again that those last quick combinations finished him off.
Flyweight champion, Danny Ward. Second down, 6th and last round.
Good stuff. Oh, beautiful uppercut. Knocks Owen Williams spark out with one right uppercut. Absolute cracker. What a finish. Referee's already stopped the fight. He's now going to take the count up. Beautiful uppercut. Cracking shot.
Second down, round 1. he still gets through with them jabs every time.
Yeah, he's such a powerful wee man.
Look at that jab there.
When he jabs, he does the right thing. He should. Oh, what an left hook! Oh, that's an incredible knockout. And this kid badly hurt. The referee shouldn't be bothering time.
Cross his left up, big long left, right on the chin. There's not a lot you can do about them.
Seconds out, round one.
Grant tries a right, bounces off Lewis. Oh, got him again. Oh, what a